Well, we now continue our weekly land report segment with the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers. Our good friend Dennis Reyman joins us now from his region. Always a pleasure, Dennis. Thank you so much. Why don't we just start how crop conditions are looking there in western Iowa? How are things, and what have you kind of come up against over the season?
Well, good to see you again, Suzanne, and thanks for having me on again. Of course, the last time I was on about a month ago, we reported on flooding, and the floodwaters are far receded, and which is a good thing. We've had some heavy rains in the last week to last few days, and so we've been able to handle that water in good shape. The crops overall are very good. They did need that first drink of water because we hadn't had a lot of rain in July. Some fields have shallow roots due to the early moisture, so things have perked up. A lot of variability, of course, due to that early spring and June weather conditions in some areas. Other areas look very good. So overall, pretty good crop coming. And this is one of those years where we see the more rolling, what's considered to be highly erodible land, looking maybe as good or better than what's considered non-highly erodible. So interesting year for everybody.
Go into detail a little bit more about that. What makes a field highly erodible? Is it have to do with a lot of rains, or is it just a soil issue there?
It's just a classification that is determined by the slope of your land. It has nothing to do with your farming practices. However, you do have to adjust your farming practices to accommodate highly erodible land. And in western Iowa, we have quite a bit that's highly erodible in areas. Not certainly non-highly erodible would be more predominant, but so what makes land highly erodible is the slope. And if it's greater than 5% slope on a third of the field or more, that field will be designated as highly erodible. If you look at Iowa in general, Iowa is considered a flat state, and from the high point to the low point, northwest corner to southeast corner, is only 1,200 feet change in elevation. But across certain farms, and especially some of the areas where I work, you could have 200 to 300 feet change in elevation across one farm.
Wow. So I would assume that having some parts of some land and farms and having that be highly erodible, that it takes that out of production. So I would assume that it is a bit of an impact on the value of the land?
Well, the highly erodible land can be pretty easily farmed. It's often farmed with no-till planting. So you leave the crop residue on the surface from last year as protection for the soil. So when that rainfall hits, it hits the residue and not the soil directly. So that really reduces the erosion factor. Often you have terraces, you have grassed waterways to handle the water that does run off. So this all requires more time to farm around. So there's an efficiency issue with farming a lot of highly erodible fields.
But our farmers can always get it done. It sounds like that is good news. And thank you for explaining all this, Dennis. Always a pleasure. Wishing you the best and look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you.
You bet. Dennis Reyman with the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers.